Today on the Canadian Way, the 2015 Subaru Impreza hatchback. Hey, look at the wire in the picture.
Hi, I borrowed this Subaru Impreza from our #1 fans. The Subaru Impreza arrived in '93 here in Canada. Then the second generation arrives in 2002, which we all remember. Bop! And then third generation, 2008. And fourth generation, this is the base model. And back in 2015, it was 20 grand. And the main argument, it's all-wheel drive. Today, this car worth $10,000. Thanks to COVID-19. General looks, bland. When Subaru created the fourth generation, they were aiming for fuel economy. But it brings problems and advantage. First, the front bumper is made out of cheap plastic, which makes the paint to peel off here, and as a result, it's already cracked here. As you remember, my video with the Baja, plastic was tougher than that. Those tires are 195/65/15, which is pretty cheap to replace, but those wheel caps, bland. So when you fill the trunk in the back, you will scrape everything. These mirrors looks like they're afterthought. Beginning the interior of the Impreza with the trunk. Here we have 638 liters of cargo space, which is pretty great for its segment. With the seats fold down, it's 1,485 liters of cargo space, and it's the second best of its segment, but it's not dishwasher approved and it's not Cinepark approved. Getting in the back seat, the door opens pretty wide. I have plenty of room here. It's comfortable, like in the front. Sitting in the back of the Impreza, there's really nothing else to do but playing with that passenger pouch. You have cup holder in both sides of the door, but it's still bland. Pretty much bland. Getting in the front, the door opens pretty wide. The sitting position is pretty comfortable. The steering wheel position is great, and I got plenty of room here. The interior is really efficient, but it represents how bland all the car is. First thing we notice when we get inside the Subaru, and your key is in the ignition. You definitely want to kill yourself when you hear that sound. There is the traction control button, so that allows you to get the traction control off, but it doesn't deactivate the stability control, so you can't drift your Impreza. The steering wheels, we have here the Bluetooth button that allows you to answer some phone calls and make some calls. You have here your volume button. Talking about the Bluetooth in these Subaru cars, it is pretty bad because even when your phone is connected, it still not works correctly. It disconnects all the time and won't still won't work at all. Talking about the infotainment, you got your phone section here, which is the Bluetooth, and it's very useless because it definitely sucks. And Speaking about the speaker, which is absolutely terrible in this car, if you really want a nice sound, go get the higher trim level. That would be better. Otherwise, it's very easy to use. I'll show you how to use it. First, just by clicking the audio, you have all your radio station right over there. And if you want to change your source, it's up on the left corner. So you get access to all your stuff, auxiliary, USB, Bluetooth. Also have the Pandora music, and there's Sirius XM on this infotainment. Under the hood of the Impreza, we have a flat 4 2-liter engine which produces 148 horsepower and 145 foot-pounds of torque. Most flat 4 engine has easy access to all the components except the spark plug. This new engine is easier to maintain than the old EJ. Although in 2012 these engines have some catalytic converter problems which make the engine to blow. Another issue with this car, the battery. This car came out with a 300cc battery, and with the Canadian winter, the car doesn't start. Overall, this engine is really reliable, and it's matched to a CVT transmission, or you can also have a standard 5-speed manual transmission. The transmission received an update in 2014, which make it more performant and efficient. I'm a cat. With the CVT transmission, you'll average 7.6 liter per 100 kilometer, which is pretty good for an all-wheel drive car. The Impreza have independent suspension on each corner and disc brakes on each wheels. Driving the Impreza, the first thing we notice is the visibility, which is absolutely great. We see everything around us. The sound editing is great. It is pretty well isolated. I'm on a bumpy road right now. The ride is pretty comfortable. I really don't feel the bump. Performance of the vehicle is correct. It's not great, but it makes the jobs. It's average. The drivetrain works pretty good for everyday driving. It is responsive, and the CVT works pretty well. I just take corners with the Impreza, and the handling is very good because of the all-wheel drive. But the steering is very light, precise, and completely disconnect. The car is very not excited to drive and very bland, like all the rest of the review. Overall, the Subaru Impreza is a good car, but it's bland. Luckily, the all-wheel drive system is here to save the day. That's why it gets Canadian recommend.